Some decisions change where you live, others change how you live. For us, buying farmland became both. 4 years ago, we started searching for a piece of farmland. Back then, we did not even know the difference between Nanjai and Punjai land. We did not know which documents mattered or which questions to ask. Like most people, we thought it was simple. Find a beautiful property, agree on a price, register it, and start building. Over the next 4 years, we learned the truth. Buying farmland has very little to do with finding beautiful land. It has everything to do with making informed decisions. Hi everyone, I am Dhanlakshmi and welcome back to yet another episode of Semmora. If you have been following our journey, we mentioned that our next video would be about buying farmland. This is that video. Over these 4 years, we have spoken to farmers, property advocates, surveyors, brokers, and experienced landowners. We have made mistakes, asked countless questions, and learned things we wish we had known from the beginning. This documentary brings together everything that helped us buy our farmland with confidence. Whether you are planning to buy a farm, start a farm stay, invest in agricultural land, or simply want to understand the process, we hope this serves as a practical guide for your own journey. We will cover everything from defining your purpose and choosing the right location to verifying documents, inspecting the farm, and the final checklist we would never skip before buying a farmland. We have researched and put together as much information as possible in this video. So please watch this video until the end without skipping. When we finally bought this land, friends, family, and people online started asking the same questions. How did you find this place? How did you verify the documents? What mistakes should we avoid? We realized there are plenty of videos about farming, registration, or individual documents, but almost nothing that shows how all the pieces fit together for a complete beginner like us. So, we are making the documentary we wish someone had made for us. Not because we know everything, because we remember exactly what it feels like to know almost nothing. Everything here comes from our own mistakes, questions, and 4 years of searching. Our goal isn't to tell you what to buy. It's to help you ask better questions so you can make better decisions. Because every farm is different, every buyer is different, and the right farm is not the same for everyone. Before documents, registration, or inspections, one question matters more than all of them. Why do you want farmland? Some people dream of full-time farming, some want a weekend escape, a food forest, a long-term investment, or a farm stay. None of these goals are wrong, but each one needs a different kind of land. At the start, we judged farms only by how beautiful they looked. Slowly we realized beautiful doesn't always mean suitable. We stopped asking, is this a good farm? And started asking, is this the right farm for what we want to build? That single change transformed our search. There are 3 important things we need to consider even before starting farm search: purpose, budget, and location. Your purpose decides almost everything that comes next. Before you start looking at land, ask yourself one simple question: why am I buying it? Is it for your family, a commercial farming, a food forest, a coconut farm, a vegetable garden, a future farm stay? Every purpose comes with a different set of priorities. The ideal location, road access, water requirements, soil, and even the size of the land can change depending on what you want to build. For us, the goal was not maximum agricultural production. We wanted a place where we could slowly build something meaningful, a space for our family today and hopefully a place that others could experience in the future. Once we became clear about our purpose, something interesting happened. We stopped chasing every attractive listing. Instead, we started asking a different question: does this land fit our purpose? That simple shift made every decision easier because Not every good piece of land is the right piece of land, and not every opportunity is our opportunity. Our second lesson was about money. When people ask, "What's your budget?" most of us think only of the land price. So did we. But buying farmland doesn't end at registration. That's often where the spending really begins. After that, fencing, irrigation, cleaning, access roads, electricity. We stopped asking, "Can we afford this?" and started asking, "Can we afford this?" and everything that comes after it. Sometimes a cheaper property becomes expensive after development. Sometimes a pricier one with the existing infrastructure saved money in the long run. Plan for what comes next, not just what comes first. The third decision is location. The best farm on paper may not always be the best farm for you. Ask yourself, how often will you realistically visit? Is it every day, every weekend, once a month, only on holidays? That answer is important. Is the road accessible in the rainy season? Can workers reach it? How far is the nearest town or the hospital? These questions rarely appear in listings, but they matter even after registration. For us, location was not only about distance, it was about connection to people, to supplies, to family, to the future we wanted to build. One of our biggest misconceptions was thinking buying an agricultural land was just like buying any other land. We did not realize there were different classifications, characteristics, and possibilities, and understanding them changed how we evaluated every property. Agricultural land is meant for farming, like crops, plantations, horticulture, etc. Residential land is meant for housing. But owning an agricultural land doesn't automatically mean you can build whatever you want. What you can build and what permissions you would need depend on several factors which we'll get into shortly. For now, remember, agricultural land is primarily for agriculture. Everything else starts from there. As we continued searching, we started noticing something curious. Many farm projects were offering plots of 22 cents, 25 cents, or anything basically more than 20 cents. At first, we assumed there was something special about those sizes. But the reason is that agricultural land and residential layouts follow different registration and approval requirements. Many developers therefore market these as agricultural farm plots, and the size of each plot is often planned with those legal and registration considerations in mind. That doesn't automatically make the land good or bad. What matters is understanding exactly what is being sold. Is it genuinely agricultural land? What can you legally do with it? And does it suit the purpose you have in mind? Asking why something is sold a certain way is more often valuable than simply accepting it. The next words we kept hearing were Nanjai and Punjai. Traditionally, Nanjai refers to land with abundant water, generally suited for water-intensive crops like paddy. Punjai refers to drier land, more dependent on rainfall, well or borewell, commonly used for millets, pulses, groundnut or coconut. But these are just classifications and not guarantees. A Nanjai land doesn't always have water today, and a Punjai land is not always dry. The actual condition still needs verification. These classifications can also become important if your long-term plans ever change. For example, if you plan to convert agricultural land for residential or other non-agricultural purposes in the future, Nanjai land is generally subject to stricter restrictions from very difficult to almost impossible, while Punjai land may offer some flexibility. Even then, such changes are never automatic. They depend on government regulations, eligibility criteria, and the required approvals. When dealing with agricultural lands, you may also come across terms like Manavari, which generally refers to rain-fed agricultural land, or Porambok, which usually refers to government or common use land. Purumbok land is not private agricultural land that is ordinarily meant to be bought and sold. So if that term appears anywhere in the records, make sure you understand exactly what it refers to before proceeding. So don't look at these classifications only from the farming perspective. Think about how they align with your overall long-term plans as well. Other important things to check are soil and water. The land may look fertile, but don't judge it by appearance alone. Ask yourself one simple question: is this soil suitable for what I want to grow? Different crops have different soil and nutrient requirements. That's why we recommend getting a proper soil test before making a major decision. The same goes for water as well. Almost every property we visited came with the assurance there's plenty of water. Eventually, we stopped accepting that. Instead, we started asking, where does the water come from? Is it from an open well, a bore well, or a shared source? How reliable is it during the peak summer? And what are the neighboring farms successfully growing? Water is not just about availability today. It's about whether it can support your plants for years to come. Test the soil, verify the water. Don't rely on assumptions. Another commonly overlooked thing is electricity. But it is also important. Check if the farm already has an EB connection and whether it's active. An existing connection can save you a lot of time, as getting a new agricultural connection may take months and delay your irrigation or any development you have planned. Also, check whether the land is eligible for free agricultural electricity, if that's important for your farming plans. A simple check today can save months of waiting later. One more term that we need to know about is survey number. Think of it as the land's address. It identifies exactly which parcel you are talking about, and it's what connects every document you will verify later. Confusing at first, but it became one of the easiest ways to cross-check the records later. The first time we saw these documents, they felt overwhelming. Legal language, survey numbers, seals, signatures, and whatnot. We wondered, do we really need to understand all of this? The answer is yes. Each document answers a different question. Once we understood that, everything became much simpler. The first one is sale deed, also known as Pattiram in Tamil. The sale deed is the legal record of how ownership was transferred. Who bought the property, from whom, when, and exactly what land changes hands. Reading it is not about understanding every legal sentence. It's about checking that names, survey numbers, extent, and boundaries match everywhere else. Then comes the parent documents. Ownership does not begin today. Parent documents are the family history of the land, how it moved through inheritance, purchase, partition, or settlement. There should be a clear chain. If it has gaps, ask questions. Now comes the patta. Almost every farmland conversation eventually reaches this word. A patta is a revenue record reflecting the recorded holder, survey information, and classification. Check the patta really means make sure the government records align with what you are being told. Never depend on a single document. Always compare across records. If names or numbers don't match, pause and ask why. Once you verify patta, you can also check chitta or adangal. These revenue records show land classification and cultivation details. Another piece of the same puzzle, helping confirm the property's agricultural identity. You may also come across the A register, commonly known as the 10-1 extract. It's another important revenue record that helps verify details like the survey number, land classification, extent, and ownership records. We recommend reviewing it along with the other revenue documents before moving ahead. Another important document is FMB. Never assume the physical fence is the legal boundary. The field measurement book contains the land survey layout, measurements, and shape, essential if boundary disputes ever arise, or you simply want to confirm what you are buying. But don't stop at the outline of the property. Study how the land is approached. Is there a public road leading to it, or does the access pass through another property? If it is not directly connected to a public road, understand what legal right gives you access to the property. Then look beyond the boundaries themselves. What surrounds the land on all four sides? Another agricultural land, a water channel, a village road, or a residential development? These details may seem small today, but they shape how the land can be used tomorrow. At first, we underestimated these documents, but we won't today. Another term most of us would have heard is EC, Encumbrance Certificate. In Tamil, it is known as Villanga Chandral. Many people believe a clean EC means everything is fine. It is important, but it is one part of a bigger picture. It shows registered transactions during the period searched, like sales or certain encumbrances. When the sale deed, patta, FMB, and EC all tell the same story, your confidence increases. This was the biggest mindset shift for us. We stopped asking which document is most important and started asking what question does this document answer. That simple change made the entire process much easier to understand. But documents tell only part of the story. The land itself tells the rest. Before making a decision, we also took every document to an experienced property advocate for legal opinion. Not because we did not trust the documents, but because we understood our own limitations. Reading a document is one thing. Understanding its legal implications is another. For us, a legal opinion was not an extra expense. It was one of the best investments we made before buying the land. Now that we have understood the paperwork, let's step onto the land itself. This is the moment most buyers look forward to, finally visiting the land. And it's easy to fall in love. Beautiful trees, fresh air, peace and quiet. We certainly did. But this visit is not about deciding whether you like the farm. It's about verifying everything you have learned so far. This is where you find out whether the assurances you have been given are actually true. Walk the entire property. Check that the road access is practical. Locate the boundary stones and compare them with the survey records. Inspect the soil and the water source. Understand how the land slopes and where rainwater naturally flows. If irrigation or future construction is part of your plan, verify the EB connection and whether it's active. And don't forget to spend time with the neighbors. They often know the land better than anyone else. Sometimes, a 10-minute conversation can tell you more than hours of paperwork. By the time you leave the farm, you should not just have a good feeling. You should have confidence. So, now we have looked at the land, we have looked at the documents, and we have actually walked the property. But before we get into negotiation or the final legal verification, there's one more question we should ask ourselves. Is there anything here that should make us stop? For us, these are the things we would pay very close attention to. A major physical constraint like a high voltage transmission line affecting the property, access that is not clear or practical, or problems with water, drainage, flooding, or the surrounding property. Then there are the people and paperwork red flags. A broker who doesn't want you speaking to the owner. A seller who won't provide the documents you need to verify the property. Documents that do not match. Or a GPA, which is the General Power of Attorney, or assigned land history that needs much deeper verification. A mismatch doesn't automatically tell you what the problem is, but it tells you there is a question that needs an answer. The same applies when something important is missing or unclear. And here's the important part. A red flag doesn't always mean the property is bad. Sometimes it means stop and verify. Sometimes it means the property simply does not work for your purpose. And sometimes it means even walk away. We have actually come across situations where one small detail was enough for us to stop and reconsider a property. And some of these red flags are not as obvious as they sound. We are planning to make a separate video on the complete list of red flags that you should consider before spending your time and money on legal verification. Keep supporting us to get more such useful information. In our land hunting journey, one property taught us the biggest lesson. Everything felt right: the location, the budget, and the atmosphere. We almost bought it. Then we slowed down, verified everything again, and found a missing detail in the documents that could have caused serious issues later. So we had to walk away. At the time, it felt like we had lost our dream farm. But today, we feel it is fine. After searching for 4 years, and that one farm we almost bought, we found this place. Not because it was perfect, in fact, no farm is. We chose it because for the first time, the land, the water, the documents, and the purpose all pointed the same direction. Finding the right farm is only half the journey. Now comes the part that officially makes it yours. The registration day finally arrives. For us, it was not just excitement, it was relief. Relief that we had not rushed and that every decision leading up to that moment felt considered. Registration is not the finish line. It's the beginning of your journey as a landowner. After registration, the first step was updating the patta to reflect the new ownership. Then we fenced the property not for the appearance, but to clearly mark the boundaries and protect the land. It became the foundation for everything that followed. Farms are not built overnight. Take your time, plan carefully, and document everything. Before buying our irrigation pipelines, we photographed, measured, and marked them. Today, those records save us time and prevent costly mistakes. So far in this video, we have walked you through the key things that matter when buying an agricultural land. From understanding the land itself and verifying the documents to inspecting the property in person. While every purchase is different, these are the fundamentals we believe every buyer should know. So before we wrap up, let's quickly bring everything together. Be clear about your purpose. Know why you are buying the land because every decision after this depends on it. Choose the right location and set a realistic budget. Think beyond the purchase price. Consider accessibility, registration, and future development costs. Visit the farm in person. Photos and videos can help, but nothing replaces walking the land yourself. Spend time understanding the land and its surroundings. Talk to neighboring landowners, understand the locality, check the water situation, road access, and observe what's around the property. Ask yourself one simple question: will this land realistically support everything you want to build or grow in the years ahead? Verify every document carefully. This is very important. Don't rely on a single record. Cross-check everything until the story is consistent. Get a professional legal opinion. Understanding the documents yourself is important. Having an experienced property advocate verify them is even more important. Speak directly with the owner whenever possible. Even if you're buying through a broker, a conversation with the owner can help you understand the property's history, expectations, and build confidence in the transaction and the price as well. Never rush the decision. If something feels unclear, pause. There will always be another property, but you only need one that's right for you. If you have watched this video from beginning to end, we hope you don't remember every document we covered. We hope you remember this. Take your time, Ask questions, verify what you are told, walk away if something doesn't feel right, and never let excitement make decisions that patience should make. Farmland is not just another purchase. For many of us, it's a dream we have carried for years, and dreams deserve careful decisions. If you want to go deeper, we have also created a detailed farmland buying PDF with all the documents, tools, red flags, and checklists we discussed. It also has practical worksheets you can fill in for every property you shortlist, so you can track your verification and compare properties before you decide. You can find it in the description. 4 years ago, we had more questions than answers. Today, we are still learning, and we will continue sharing everything we learn here on Semmora. If you have experience buying or managing farmland, we would love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience might help someone else on the same journey. And if you are just getting started, tell us where you are in your journey. We would love to know your progress. If you found this guide helpful, consider subscribing and following Semmora for more practical guides and real experiences. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.